That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about The Running Man, the 9th film directed by Edgar Wright, which Paramount Pictures is releasing theatrically November 14th, 2025. It is, of course, a remake of the 1987 film, which starred Arnold Schwarzenegger and Maria Conchita Alonso, of course, based on the Stephen King novel, writing under the pseudonym Richard Bachman.
Do I know an Edgar Wright film?
You do. I haven't liked a film of his since his early works with Simon Pegg, such as Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. I do like his Sparks Brothers documentary. But Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was a big one, which he's reuniting with his screenwriter Michael Bacall. Of course, Michael Cera as well. The World's End. I couldn't stand Baby Driver or Last Night in Soho. I don't remember if you saw those, but I didn't care for them.
What is The Running Man about? A man joins a game show in which contestants, allowed to go anywhere in the world, are pursued by hunters hired to kill them. What is your pull quote?
Suddenly, the dystopic nightmares of Stephen King feel so topical, as Edgar Wright's remake of The Running Man strangely feels like the most pertinent, if still glossy, narrative film he's ever directed, aided by Glen Powell's throwback matinee idol energy.
Mine. Glen Powell carries this high-octane, socially charged spectacle, a bold ride that runs out of steam in the final act.
I would agree with that. I still think it is better than the Arnold Schwarzenegger version, who does get a shout-out in this. He's the face that's printed on the new dollar.
That's right.
So that's a nice little throwback. And of course, this arrives the same year as another Bachman King novel that's very similar, was released, The Long Walk.
The story is very simple. Glen Powell plays this man living in this dystopic world where the disparity in wealth is kind of difficult to understand. People are very poor without access to anything. We see some middle-class people, and then there's the ultra-rich. But he's part of the people who are struggling.
You've never seen such poor people look so good, though.
He's married and has a small child, maybe like a 2-year-old, and the child is quite sick. Although then we're told the child has the flu. So I don't know, in the future, the flu kills people. I don't, because he keeps saying we need to find real farms from a real doc to cure the kid. So I don't know what cure there is for the flu, but.
Well, you know, if you don't have access to resources and you're dehydrated, diarrhea can kill you, etc.
Yeah, but they're making it seem like there's like a shot that will cure the flu. And it's not just because they do at one point get medication and the wife says, well, this is just treating the symptoms, which I thought is what you do for the flu. But
well,
either way.
Later there's a character who has cancer who they're like, get her the good stuff. It's like what, morphine or?
Either way, they're in need of money. And Glen Powell's character has anger management issues, so he's been fired from many jobs. And in this world, there's one corporation that kind of runs everything, so he's been blacklisted. The only thing he can do now is participate in a game show.
Well, he was also standing up for the unions, who I guess ain't shit.
So he goes to the network to apply for a game show, and his wife tells him, you can do anything except The Running Man. Because The Running Man is basically, if you can stay alive for 30 days, you get $1 billion new dollars, but no one has ever done it in the many years it's been on. So it's a death wish. And he says, I promise to take care of you. So he goes down there. He is acting a plumb fool. So the network, which the person who's created The Running Man is played by James Brolin.
The showrunner, Dan Killian.
And he says, you're the kind of guy we need on this show to bring back some energy. The ratings kind of been dipping. You're clearly very angry. So let's make you a star. And it's an enticing deal because the longer he can stay on the show, the more money he gets, which goes to his wife.
He said, if you stay alive a week on this show, your family will have enough money to be in the top tier.
The top 1% of everyone in the world. There are the details in this movie that don't make sense to me, but
damn, things are bad.
But he agrees to be on The Running Man. The bulk of the movie is Glen Powell trying to stay alive, at first with the help of the apostle,
Daniel Ezra,
who has like a YouTube channel where he exposes the show. So he does very detailed rundowns and makes comparisons and reveals things. And he, of course, is for the people, and he wants to take down the network, and he helps Glen Powell get to another person who can get him to a safe space where he can run out the days. And that person is played by Michael Cera.
Elton.
But Michael Cera's character is a little overzealous because he has a backstory we can get to. But ultimately, Glen Powell is able to get the upper hand to a degree because James Brolin likes what Glen Powell's giving. And he tells him, I can make you a star. Like, I can give you a spin-off show. Why would you give me a spin-off show? Who's going to watch it? Oh, the people are going to love you because of the vengeance storyline. Mm-hmm. And he's like, vengeance for what? Oh, because I didn't mention, anyone can kill or turn in people in the Running Man, but there is a group called the Hunters. Uh-huh. It's like 4 or 5 people who are specifically targeting him. The lead one, who's this masked figure, which is an interesting role to take because for 80% of the movie, it's just a guy in a mask. And in the end, we learned it's Lee Pace. Mm-hmm. But
if you know his voice, you hear him speak. I knew it was him.
But James Brolin tells Glen Powell, oh, the Hunters kill your wife and your kid. And now the Hunters are flying the plane that you're going to escape on. Because Glen Powell had secured, like, meet me at a runway and give me a plane so I can get out of here. So James Brolin says, if you kill everyone on the plane, I'll give you your own show. Mm-hmm. Glen Powell refuses to do it on air, but he does kill everyone. And then James Brolin causes the plane to crash. So we think Glen Powell's dead. But then the final moments of the film are that the Apostle has made this new YouTube video saying that he believes Glen Powell ejected from the plane before he was killed and is alive. And so the final scene is we see his wife and daughter at like a Whole Foods and Glen Powell is standing outside the Whole Foods having paid for their groceries. Uh-huh. The end.
And don't forget that the public has finally rebelled against the Running Man show in studio and ruined
James Brolin.
The production.
Well, and Glen Powell shows up to the studio and shoots and kills James Brolin, presumably. But yeah, it wasn't as predictable as I thought it would be, because I thought for sure he was going to win, get the money, and live happily ever after. But instead, it's more social commentary on taking down the system. There's a lot going on.
It is, and it's cutting some corners because it's being ambiguous about the actual power that the state, say, has, because it, based on what they're able to do, it doesn't make sense that Ben Richards, that's Glen Powell's character, would come out on top at all.
Well, let's talk about that. Yeah, I'm a little confused that if there's one corporation, this network, that runs everything, how is he even able? I didn't understand how the wife and kid are still alive, how he's able to run around and pay for things.
Well, because they put her on blast on the show too, and insinuate that, it's insinuated several times that she works as a waitress in some capacity that might also serve as
sex work.
Sex work.
But we're also told that because of the technology, the state can find anyone anywhere. They have these drones. We're told that they, on every street light, there's technology that can trace DNA. That's how they find the people in the Running Man to make sure they don't win. So yeah, it's very curious to me why Ben Richards, Glen Powell's character, would persist. Also, I was surprised that the Apostle's even able to operate, exposing the show.
Exactly. Especially because at one point, he's holed up in the Apostle's home with his mother, I think younger brother, and a sister that's suffering from cancer, as we mentioned, and they're able to get her some medication. But then things get really hot on the block, and the mom's like, I don't want him here. And they sneak him out in a car, and immediately people are tailing the Apostle.
Right.
I don't know how they're... And a very violent showdown ensues with these two motorcyclists. And I don't understand how there wouldn't be some record of that somewhere.
I thought the opening was a little crunchy. Well, I like Glen Powell a lot. And the woman playing his wife, beautiful. Like you already mentioned, these people are supposed to be destitute.
Jamie Lawson from Sinners and Farewell Amore. And
she looks too damn good.
Her hair looks fantastic.
She is perfect. Teeth, skin, hair, everything. Like, they look very well nourished. Glen Powell is
Ripped.
super ripped and jacked. For people who can't afford like baby Tylenol, it just feels like okay. But I also don't understand the world we live in, because at a point, like at the beginning of the third act, Glen Powell hijacks a car, and it's this woman who's meant to seem like middle class.
Amelia Jones of the film Coda.
Like, she is so far removed from people like Glen Powell that she doesn't even understand how they live.
She basically treats him like trash.
But she's not part of the uber rich either. So it's very odd to me, like the class system in this world.
But she can afford a self-driving car.
Speaking, I'm getting all over the place, but one component of the movie that I wish there was more of is we see several times that there's a show called The Americanos that's supposed to be like the Kardashians.
With Debbie Mazar as the
matriarch.
Kris Jenner.
And I was hoping we would get more of that. And
Yeah, same.
in the beginning of the third act, when Glen Powell hijacks that car, I was hoping that whomever was driving the car was one of the Americanos, but it's not. It's just a lady. We're told she's a realtor who watches the Americanos. That was a bit of a disappointment.
And she decides to help him because she realizes that maybe she's drank the propaganda Kool-Aid, and she says, I'm a good person. He's like, I didn't say you weren't. But she's like, well, I have to prove it to myself.
Well, here, starting with my notes, I understand, because I don't remember the 87 film.
You've seen it.
And I didn't read the source material, but I understand that this film leans closer to Stephen King's original novel than the 80s movie, because it focuses more on social commentary rather than like just the spectacle of it all.
Well, arriving on the heels of The Long Walk, it has very similar.
So then, we lean much more heavily into media exploitation, class inequality, violence for entertainment. That's a big one. Okay. Again, I really like Glen Powell, and he does a good job in this movie. His character, though, is kind of obnoxiously angry.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're not...
you're the reason you're struggling, sir.
Yeah, you're your own worst enemy. It reminded me... Remember that Boney M song, El Lute?
Yes.
Ben Richards, indeed, is a man who was born to be hunted like a wild animal because he was poor. That's what this feels like.
He gets to the network and is immediately acting up. There's some old man in line who's like coughing up his lungs, and Glen Powell's trying to help him, and security says, don't touch that guy.
No helping.
No helping. And Glen Powell gets into a fight with security, and they whoop his ass.
And then make him get back in line.
And then they make him get back in line, in the back of the line. I thought that was funny. But he is out of control angry. He gets to like the front and checks in with this person behind like a bulletproof window, and the person... like whatever they're looking at pops up on the screen like a hologram.
Minority Report-ish.
So Glen Powell's character can see that he's been blacklisted. And he like punches the glass and shatters it. And immediately that person on the other side is like, okay, you're going to the 6th floor. And that's when we meet...
Katie O'Brien.
Who I'm really liking.
I do too.
Everything I've seen.
And I wanted to see more of her.
Because of course I liked her in the Kristen Stewart movie...
Love Lies Bleeding.
And then we just reviewed her in...
Christy. She's also in The Last Mission Possible, I believe.
But she is also auditioning, and then some other poor sap who gets killed right away. But yeah, I liked every scene she was in, and I was hoping...
Well, because also she's a lesbian.
Yeah, but she's like a raging lesbian. Like, she's out here popping bottles at the strip club.
Oh, she has compulsion issues, for sure.
It was fun. Okay. William H. Macy's in the movie. He's playing this he has like a little underground shop, and he's only in one scene, but his character's integral because Glen Powell has no options. So that's why he's at the network willing to do anything for money. So after he's signed up for the Running Man, and it's like day one, he runs to William H. Macy because he needs costumes and weapons. And William H. Macy's like, dude, what are you doing here now? This is like, now you're going to get me killed. But he reveals that, oh, I was going to ask you like tomorrow to work for me. Which would have obviously saved Glen Powell's character, but it's too late.
I think that how they suggest his back's against the wall, I think, is a little poorly constituted.
Yes.
Because I is the kid gonna die? It seems like they're fine. Again, you mentioned...
I know people die from diarrhea and whatnot, but they're not making it seem like that. They keep saying, oh, the baby has a fever, the baby has the flu, oh, the bootleg street meds you got for it are just like curing or mending the symptoms.
In short, the stakes aren't high enough.
They don't feel high enough for him to sacrifice his life.
And then everything feels very truncated. And this is a 133-minute movie, but it's so truncated with Jamie Lawson, his wife, Sheila, when she comes in, because she's basically going to be home for the night, tend to the baby, and then suddenly she's like, I got to go back to work.
It was all very rushed, the opening.
And that's how the end feels the same, where she's in the grocery store and this recurring motif with these baby socks, and the cashier's like, oh, some man paid for your groceries. Like, what?
Yeah, what?
How did you arrange that?
Anyway, William H. Macy gives Glen Powell a fake ID and 3 different costumes. The first one is like a businessman. I like that Glen Powell likes to play dress up.
Yes, he does. Mm-hmm.
But
like as in Hitman. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he ends up staying in this hotel and he gets found out. He's able to escape. But we get, of course we have to have one scene where we see Glen Powell scantily clad. So we get a scene where he's going to go take a shower.
But that hotel is like a flop house. Actually, it's kind of like where Carl Weathers goes in Action Jackson.
Yes,
well.
Actually. Well, the first hotel he goes to is actually quite nice.
Yes.
But then he gets found out. Because, of course, the state knows everything. They even know that he has a fake ID, and so they're tracking him. But the second one is the flop house, and we get Glen Powell in a towel.
In a shared bathroom
situation, and we see him climbing a building in just his little towel, and he rips it off. But action-packed.
Yes.
The pacing up until the final act I thought was very effective because we also are conscious of the time.
The hunters are quite vicious. The one we get to see that's most recognizable is Carl Glusman, who's got badly dyed blonde hair, but seems very vicious. And there's actually a really great action sequence with him on the bridge, which I think is in the trailer. Yeah,
with the explosives. Okay, I don't like talking about kids, but there's a kid who I think the character name is Stacy. Mm-hmm. He finds Glen Powell, because of course, all the people participating in the Running Man are like immediate global sensations. Everyone knows who they are because they're all looking for them. Mm-hmm. So this little kid who looks like maybe he's 10 or 11 sees Glen Powell and says, oh, I can help you.
My brother will help you. Mm-hmm.
The way this kid is written, I thought was so corny. And he reminded me of the little black kid in Magnolia.
That's a good reference, yeah.
Who breaks into Julianne Moore's SL Mercedes.
To rob her and save her, yeah.
It just feels like whoever wrote it was trying to write like an urban kid. And the way he's speaking, I don't think the kid's a bad actor. I think that the character's written in a really odd way.
I agree.
But the actor playing the Apostle... I did like him.
Mr. Ezra, Daniel Ezra. Mm-hmm.
And I also could have stood for more of his character. Again,
same.
I don't see how the network's even allowing this person to publish these videos.
To function. But, I mean, it does satisfy a certain component of the population, the conspiracy theorists. So I guess you could argue that it's all part of the disease.
The media exploitation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, then another costume Glen Powell has is as a blind, priest, which I thought was kind of cute. Then he gets to, I believe it's Maine, and that's where he meets Michael Cera. And Michael Cera's character reminded me of Jack Quaid's character in Heads of State.
Yes, he's better than that, though.
Like this zany guy who's like anti-establishment, and his entire backstory is that his dad was a cop who they were trying to make corrupt, and he didn't want to, so he started a hot dog stand.
Yeah, he also reminded me of this, there's this Woody Harrelson character, I don't remember if it's in Zombieland, who's a very similar conspiracy theorist in the woods that's also comedic relief.
I like Michael Cera. I thought the best part of his scene was his mother, because she's this crazy old lady who watches The Running Man, and she recognizes Glen Powell, so she's basically screaming like, off with his head, kill him. And
which I think there's supposed to be a statement there, because Michael Cera's like, oh, she used to be a very intelligent, empathetic woman.
Like she's been brainwashed. But Michael Cera ends up calling the police because he's like, well, we need to get him here because I need my revenge. So he ends up killing a bunch of hunters. He does get Glen Powell to safety, kind of, but gets killed in the process.
Well, it's sloppy. He's like, I want to mess with these guys and kill as many as I can which compromises them.
And then it's during this scene that we get James Brolin sort of first offering Glen Powell an opportunity to play the system. Like, I'm going to let you live if you agree to work with me for better ratings. But of course, Glen Powell's integrity won't allow him to do that.
Of course, yes.
I feel like Lee Pace was kind of wasted. Because I like him.
I do too. And
although I only know him from that Tarsem movie.
The Fall.
The Fall. That's the only thing I know him from, and I really liked him in The Fall.
No, you know him from Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, is he the older guy in that?
Yes.
Oh.
And you should see him in Soldier's Girl.
Anyway, for 80% of his time on screen, he's wearing a mask. And when we finally see him, we learn that he is kind of the original Glen Powell. Mm-hmm. He was on the show. He was doing really well. So James Brolin offered him an opportunity and has basically been controlling him by threatening to kill his family. So I feel like that element of the story feels a little wasted. And the ending, once Glen Powell hijacks that lady, the realtor, I feel like the story takes a very different tone.
Yeah, and it starts to feel a little long in the tooth for sure. I mean, you know, Sean Hayes has a small role in there. And then, of course, Colman Domingo is kind of a big part as Bobby T.
Oh, I forgot to mention him because I did think, because, you know, this is giving, I guess Hunger Games is giving The Running Man. And Colman Domingo is giving
Stanley Tucci,
but I prefer Colman Domingo
as the MC.
Because this feels much more adult.
It does, yes.
So I thought he was actually quite good in this. Mm-hmm. I don't even remember Sean Hayes. Like, what was his character?
He's very beginning. He's kind of like in the capacity of Coleman's character as well.
Oh.
He's the MC presenter on the show.
Sure.
Do you remember, it was also reminding me, because it is like the adult version of Hunger Games, which is like a YA, same bullshit going on. Do you remember that movie Johnny Depp directed, in which he stars as an indigenous person who's hired to be in a snuff film, and then his family will have enough money to live, and it's Marlon Brando.
What?
You watched it with me.
No.
It's terrible.
That's not the one. What's the one with him and Faye Dunaway and Marlon Brando?
That's Don Juan DeMarco.
Okay, no. I don't remember.
Yes, it's Marlon Brando. It's like 1997. He's in a wheelchair, and he's hired Johnny Depp to star in his own snuff film so the family can live.
What else would you like to say about The Running Man?
Well, you said you liked how it looked, so we should shout out Chun Hoon Chung, the cinematographer who has worked with Park Chan-wook so many times.
It does feel rich.
I agree, and I think it's the best thing that Edgar Wright's directed in a while, but that doesn't mean I don't think it also is a little flawed and strangely kind of inept with some of the details. But I did like it. I would give it 3 out of 5.
If I paid to see this, I would not be disappointed. I did enjoy it. I would give it 3.5 out of 5. Join us on Patreon and listen to our podcast. Bye.